Welcome back to your favorite sports competitive betting show. I am your host, Josh Elliott. We're starting to shape up here. We're getting closer and closer to playoffs. Only a handful of weeks left before we start what we call the next season. So get ready, strap in. It's going to be a good one here. These cappers are going to battle it out to figure out who is going to be the BCMG Call Your Shot champion here. So let's see who's entered in the sports arena tonight. In the blue corner, he's always got some soccer picks for us, as well as some football. But it sounds like we got a lot of homer picks tonight from this guy looking to make a move to get into the playoff spot. It's James Makes Picks. How's it going, James?
Pretty good, my man. How are you? Yeah, you're calling me out here early. I definitely am leaning into the JMP as a homer tonight. Obviously, you can see where I'm leaning for at least one of my picks. So you'll see what I have up my sleeve here.
All right. Hey, nothing wrong with a couple homer picks, but just not from Action Jackson. So in the red corner, looking to stay at the top of the leaderboard. This guy is profiting already 28 units so far this season. So you best listen up. If you're wondering who the source is when you're looking at the scoop, it's this guy. It is Joe from the Source Podcast. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Josh. I'm looking forward to topping 30 units, hopefully, by the end of the show. And looking for another win to go to 14-1 all time. That would be nice. I like that number. 14-1 would be a great record.
All-time record, all-time 14-1. Just quick question, what's your goal? Is your goal at the end of the season is 40 units or 45 units or just a Call Your Shot championship win? What's that?
Well, in reality, I'm at 44 units total in my Call Your Shot career.
I'm talking my goal for this season, though.
Okay, this season, my goal is to take home the championship, but I also would like to get past at least 45 units.
Yeah.
So I got some work still to do, and I'm looking forward to it.
I will post some all-time stats, and some of it will blow your mind from what the Source has done so far in the last 2 seasons, as well as off-season plays as well. So let's get to the next matchup now. You're not going to expect any sort of homer pick from this guy. Another guy that needs to make a move if he wants to get into playoffs. With his back against the wall, he's someone to watch out for. I really hope we get to see a spike play tonight. It is Derek, the Action Jackson. How's it going, my man?
Doing well, fresh off the All-Star break. I'm glad to be back. I mean, it feels like it's been a month since we've been doing this. But, yeah, I'm looking to make some moves right now, late season moves. Let's get into the playoffs and get Source off his pedestal. That's the plan.
You actually got the second most amount of votes for the All-Star break, Derek, just FYI. I know
Recount.
All right. In the next matchup here, this guy kind of has been just laying in the weeds, waiting to pounce like a lion. Yet no one knows that this guy is already second best for picking percentage, third best on the list for profiting units. He's my favorite Yinzer. Call Your Shot season winner 1. It is Luke Hardo. How's it going, Luke?
Yeah, you can stay up on them pedestals all day, fellas. I'll see you when it counts. No, I'm doing good.
The only man to beat me, so it's going to be a competition. 14-1.
Yeah, that's the one loss. Yeah,
great
by 0.23, if I'm correct.
Anyways, fellas, let's just quick disclaimer before we get going. Today's format: 4 picks, 7 units, most profit wins. They can make a pick for any spread pick, money line pick, prop pick, total pick, for any sport, anything that they think will make you money. There is no rules except for one. The value of the pick must be less than plus 300 in American odds. We're also making these picks for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and sometimes Monday. So picks tonight could have potential value change or a line change. So, for example, Baltimore Ravens are favored by 4.5, I think, right now. That could move to 5.5, 6.5, or the other way around. So bet with us now. Grab your drink. Grab your grandma. I do not care. Let's make some picks, and let's have some fun. So I'm going to start off with James. James, you're wearing the shirt. What do you got for us?
I'm really glad, actually. I'm not glad that we took a little break, but there was the international break in footy, so it would have been real sad last week to not have any footy on for you guys. But luckily, it comes back this weekend, right? And Chelsea's the early game. They're traveling away to Leicester City. I'm going to take them on the money line, minus 125 for 2 units. Really, it's just – and my son's joining me here to get this pick too. It's really just that they really needed this break. Chelsea did. They drew out their last match to Burnley right before the break. They have a few injuries they were dealing with. I think now after a couple weeks, they're here. Let's just come up here. Maybe you want one. Say hi, guys. He
How's it
likes
going,
Chelsea
buddy?
too. He's the one that made the pick. We'll just leave it at that. But basically, they're coming in off the break, and I think struggling Leicester City is a good team to bounce back and get right. So I like Chelsea this weekend.
I like how you got two brains there. I like it. And he
Heck
might
yeah.
even be better. His might even be better than yours.
I hope so.
Question for you. I if I'm not mistaken, Chelsea is away for this game. How do you
Yes.
like them on the road?
They have won 4 and drew 1. They're tied for the best away team in the league currently. I mean, to be fair, they've drawn 2 and they've won the rest of their games. I mean, they're having an incredible season, and it's basically on the back of their defense. They've only allowed 1 road goal all season, and Leicester has some goal scorers, so I wouldn't be shocked to see them score here. But they also struggle to defend. Leicester does really, and Chelsea. I mean, they got players all over the pitch that can score, from their defenders all the way up to their strikers. Their defenders are scoring. Their top scorer is a defender. So
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
yeah, they have a lot of crazy depths all over the field, all over the pitch, on the bench. They got a bunch of people that can score. Yeah, so I'm not really too worried about them. I like to break Tuchel, man, one of the best managers in the world. So see, he agrees.
Row. That's barking. I like the pick. Yeah, I mean Chelsea, well-known name. That's all I know, really, that they're just a well-known football club. But I mean, you're a diehard Homer Chelsea fan, so I mean, it's got to be right? They got.
I mean, I like that value. You're not going to get -125 for Chelsea often this year, not with the way they're playing. So
all right, fair enough for 2 units. There you go.
Yep.
Let's move it along to Job. We were just talking about the Baltimore line. What do you got there, Job?
Well, we're going to take Baltimore -4.5. It is a 1-unit play for us. It's not a massive play, but we like the value at -4.5. Anytime Matt Nagy is coaching a football game, there's a decent chance the other team will cover. So give us the Ravens and the 4.5.
Now, Justin Fields, I mean, he's always a topic of discussion every time anybody bets against him, but he's starting to kind of seem like Justin Fields, like he was back in college, a year ago, whatever. How do you think that their D line is going to be able to contain him? Are they going to be able to, or is he going to be able to kind of run around a bit?
I think the over in this game was also a consideration because I think Justin Fields is a quality quarterback and he's able to run around and extend plays. I just don't know that he has the chemistry with his weapons to really create problems for the Ravens secondary. Patrick Queen will probably lock up Darnell Mooney, which sounds interesting to anybody who's followed the Bears for a couple of years because we all know that Allen Robinson over there is an absolute stud. But the way that Allen Robinson has developed chemistry with Justin Fields is not great. He's having a bad season, not just a down season, but a bad season by his standards. And I would fully expect the number 1 corners for the Ravens to be able to lock up Darnell Mooney, who's a subpar to average receiver for the rest of the league.
Yeah, talk about a elite quarterback that's kind of been put on the shelf a bit, like Robinson. It's just kind of unfortunate for a guy like that who probably could be a top 5 wide receiver in the league, but just is just in a shitty situation in my full opinion. But yeah, Baltimore 4.5.
He needs to go to a team that's going to feed him the ball, because when they put the ball in his hands, he makes things happen. And he's just not getting the ball in open space. With Matt Nagy.
It would be super fun to see him with like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, obviously Aaron Rodgers has Devontae Adams, but it's just that combo for, just to see what it would be like would be, I think, electric. But yeah, the Baltimore 4.5 against a shitty Chicago team. I like it. Fade the Bears as much as you can, I feel like. Let's move
I fade Matt Nagy whenever we can.
Yeah, that's true. I'm surprised Matt Nagy actually has a job still, to be honest with you.
I think this might be, Josh, now that you mention it, the week he loses his job. I'm curious to see if anybody else on the show agrees with that.
I would have thought 2 weeks ago he was fired, but I mean, hey.
No, only good organizations fire coaches, guys.
It's a good way to put it.
All right, let's move it along here to the next matchup. Derek, you got a big play here. What is it? What do you got for me?
All right, so let me preface this by saying I like SMU +12 more than the money line, but I understand where I am in the standings, and I need to make a move. So I'm going to go 1 unit SMU money line at plus 350. So SMU, pretty solid team. They are going to be the most potent offense that Cincinnati Bearcats have faced to date. And I don't see Cincinnati being able to stop this offense. So right off the bat, I think this is going to be a pretty close game, 1-possession game. And I'm going to take a shot that SMU plays spoiler to the minimal hopes of Cincinnati actually making it to the college football playoff. When I look at Cincinnati, they're on a 4-game streak of not covering the spread, and each spread has been 20 plus points. And I don't even think Cincinnati has been outside of the number in covering at any point in any of those 4 games. Maybe they have at some point, but I really don't think they have, because those games have 2 of them have ended pretty damn close. And the other 2, Cincinnati never really pulled away. So I feel like they are ripe for an upset. And I think this is a really good spot for SMU to catch them and put up some points and play that game tight.
I love this pick because you got it just under the rule for 350. But question for you: SMU's offense has been kind of lackluster as of late, a little bit. Does that worry you a little bit against Cincinnati's pretty potent defense?
No, not at all. Because to me, Cincinnati hasn't been impressive themselves. 2 weeks ago, SMU did have a good showing when they played Houston. Probably should have won that game. They gave up a kickoff return right after they took the lead with like 30 seconds left. Houston kid took it to the house. But yeah, they put up some points in that Houston game. But yeah, Cincinnati they really have not impressed me one bit. I was looking at their schedule. I tried to find like, hey, where were their good wins this year? Yeah, maybe that at Indiana game. Okay.
Yeah.
But they were losing at the half. They had a huge momentum swing in the third quarter. And I mean, Indiana is not the Hoosiers of last year. They're not a good team. So to me, not really a good win. It showed some heart that they were able to come back at the half and win that game pretty handedly. Yeah. And then the following game was against Notre Dame. And yes, they beat Notre Dame, but Cincinnati was coming off the bye. They had 2 weeks to prepare for Notre Dame. And Notre Dame at that time, when Cincinnati beat them, people were looking at the Irish and just saying, they're not really that good of a team. They're overrated. You know, they had to beat Florida State in overtime. So at that point in time, nobody was really considering that a good win. So what's on Cincinnati's resume? I don't think they're worthy of these big point spreads, to be honest. So yeah, taking a shot with the money line. But like I said, SMU plus 12.5 will be on my card this weekend for certain.
I do like that. I don't know Cincinnati's full schedule and their past results, but I do like, it feels like just from kind of outside looking in sort of thing, that they started out really well. It feels like they were covering a lot of spread. And I would want to say
they were winning. They were definitely covering at the early portion of the season.
And then the last 3, maybe even 4 weeks.
4 weeks they have
not been what they were in the first half.
No.
So that is a very tall spread considering SMU. Like, I mean, they're playing SMU.
Yep.
But that offense, I feel like that for SMU just needs to kind of, switch it up a little bit, because what they've kind of been doing just hasn't really been it. But because they're not covering against teams that they should. But on the other side, Cincinnati's not doing the same. They're doing the exact same thing. So the 12
it's almost like all the pressure in the world is on the Bearcats right now.
Yeah.
These kids are trying to do everything they can to gain the respect and get into that college football playoff, but they should be blowing these teams out and winning with style points, and they're not. So I just think the pressure might be the stage is too big for these kids. They were a better team last year, even though they returned most players. They were a better team last year than they are this year, in my opinion.
I agree. They were fun to watch last year. Very, very fun. And I believe they lost in a bowl game to Houston, I think it was last year.
No, they lost to Georgia, which they should have actually won that game. That was one hell of a game. But yeah, they stuck with Georgia, who is number 1 in the country right now, and it's virtually the same Georgia team that they played in the bowl last year. So to me, they're not on that level this season. They were there last year with them, but not this year.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I like that 12.5 spread, something to look at too, 100%. Maybe even an over. I don't even know what the line is, but there could be a lot of points. Lukey, we can't see you, but I know we can hear you. What do you got for your first pick?
Yeah, so Ohio State, we'll start off with my boys. We know what game's coming. We avoided the Boilermaker upset. Ryan Day had the boys ready to play some football last week.
Wait, just to stop you here, are you talking about your boys, like the Mountaineers?
No, I'm talking about Ohio State.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. I'm like, wait, what?
So Ryan Day had them ready to play last week, but they still gave up 35 points last week to the Boilermakers. I think they're going to be caught looking ahead to that team up north, and I think Michigan State can cover. I'm not going to say they're winning, but they can cover that 19.5 for sure.
Now, question here: does C.J. Stroud making a Heisman statement over Kenneth Walker not worry you? Because he's now plus 175 to win the Heisman. He's tied with his good friend over in Alabama and Bryce Young, and he's going to want to absolutely annihilate
Joe
his defense.
took the words right out of my mouth. Does that worry you?
Yeah, no, I get it. CJ's, I mean, when he's on, he's on. And he rarely misses passes. I mean, last week, he threw 37 times and completed 30. So, I mean, when he's on, he's on. But it's a late game in East Lansing, I do believe. I think it's in East Lansing this year. I can't remember.
Yeah.
So it'll be their whiteout game probably. So. I'm going to give them a chance to not pull the upset, but keep it within 20.
19
and a half.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, guys. Like looking at those odds, those updated odds, CJ Stroud, I mean, does Bama's quarterback, like, does he deserve the best odds right now? Like for
Well, don't worry. They played New Mexico State. We're good.
I mean, but that was just kind of a surprise to me. I would have thought CJ Stroud would have been up there. But I don't. What do you guys think about that? About the Heisman odds so far right now? Derek?
Yeah, no, I'll jump in. I definitely think CJ Stroud should be up there. Started the season off a little slow, but to be expected. New quarterback, a lot of new pieces around him. But after those first 3 or 4 games, man, he really went on a roll where he was putting up, video game numbers, 400 yards passing, five TDs. I think he did that in back-to-back games. And then he had a really good third game. But yeah, he's certainly matured as the season went on, and he's putting up really good numbers. In terms of Bama, I think it doesn't matter who the hell the Alabama quarterback is at any point. They're always going to be in the running for the Heisman just because it's Alabama. They don't lose. They put up numbers. But, yeah, I'm a little surprised he's up there just because in recent weeks I feel like that offense has not been clicking as well. And they're certainly not a powerhouse offensively as we've seen in years past. So I am a little surprised to hear that Bryce is up there as a co-favorite right now to win the Heisman.
Job, I want to get your 2 cents on this. Did you hear what my question was?
I didn't hear the question, but what I do know is we here at the Source, we picked CJ Stroud at plus 4,500 to win the Heisman in May. So I have a severe bias on to CJ Stroud. So whatever your question was, it had to do with the legality of who the Heisman winner is going to be. My answer is going to be CJ Stroud all day.
Do you give Anthony Brown any chance? Because that's my long shot ticket I've been sitting on since May. Can I rip that up yet?
I don't give him much shot. But then again, if you think about last season, right, Devontae Smith was plus 2,200 at this point in the season with 2 weeks to go. And he went up and dominated and won the Heisman in those last couple of weeks. So it's possible.
Go Oregon. I need some big points these last couple of weeks.
You need them to blow them teams out by 35 to 40 points both times. And you need him to throw for 5 of those touchdowns. No interceptions and a 90.
Yeah, no,
90%
it's
completion
not
rate.
going to happen.
Not going to happen.
It looks good at 40-1 early in the season, especially when they beat Ohio State. But yeah, no, things got ugly for that offense quick.
Just quickly, Joe. The question was: Does Bryce Young deserve to be the favorite for the Heisman right now?
No, the favorites should be C.J. Stroud and Kenneth Walker. I say C.J. Stroud because as a true
Bias.
freshman, he's dominating and with a lot less weapons than he would otherwise be used to. A lot less weapons than you have at Alabama this season. Ohio State is a little bit shorthanded at receiver. But if you look at Kenneth Walker, I think he has the only quote-unquote statement Heisman game so far out of any of the contenders with his 5 touchdowns over Michigan. I think it's probably the only game, the only moment that stands out as a signature moment for any of these guys because no one has really taken the race and made themselves the front runner. It's just kind of the guys by default who have the big name schools and who are winning a lot of games.
Yeah, I found it kind of surprising that he was basically at the top with the as the favorite. It just kind of it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I don't think he will win it, but who knows? All right, we're moving on. It is the end of the first round. Let's plug a sponsor here. BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook. Make sure to check them out. I'm going to drop a link below this tweet, I guess, or wherever you are on Facebook or YouTube. I'll drop the link. And you can click on it, sign up, deposit on your first deposit. They will match up to 125%, maximum amount of $2,500. So make sure to check them out. I've been using them a lot in terms of for this show as well, but as well as betting on their sportsbook. They're a great sportsbook. So they're now in Canada for all our Canadian viewers that are looking for a sportsbook. Now that the laws have passed a couple months ago, make sure to check them out if you're looking for a book. So.
They're an official sponsor of ours as well here at The Source, Josh. So we endorse that sponsorship.
There we go. I like it. All right, James, I see you changed the shirt. So let's see what you got for your second pick.
I said I was leaning into it, boys. I'm going full homer. Seriously, full homer. I even got one more homer after this. Y'all are going to love it. But I'm going back to my boys in Green Bay. I know they're trying. This is another road trip. I know they're going back to Minnesota, but they've been pretty good there in their new stadium. Since Minnie's built that new stadium, Rodgers and Davante Adams especially has really run rampant, except for that one year where he broke his collarbone. We don't talk about that. But the Davante Adams, his last game there in 2020, the first game, I think it was week 1 or 2, he had 14 catches and 2 touchdowns in Minnesota. So I expect him to maybe get hot here. And let's be honest, it's not even been the Packers offense that's been carrying this team. It's that defense. They've allowed 18 points per game this season. I mean, they just shut out Seattle. I know it might be kind of an outlier, but it's not easy to shut out an NFL team, and they shut out Seattle last week. Defense has been hot. I think they can ride that hot hand, and Aaron Rodgers can maybe knock a little more of that rust off and get heated up with Davante, and I think they win this one pretty easily. I like that value at minus 125. I don't even mind the spread. The spread, if you want it at minus 110, whatever, I think it's minus 2.5 or 1.5. That's fine too. I think they cover. They've covered like in every game this year except maybe one, the first game, that other outlier game. So I like the Packers this weekend.
And that's a Seattle team with Russell Wilson too. Don't forget about that.
Yep. Danger Russ came back.
They've actually gotten a pretty surprising record at home, on the road. 4-2, and they are on the road here in Minnesota. Minnesota feel like maybe they're starting to come back. We've seen some life there last week when they were playing the Chargers. Does Kirk Cousins worry you at all?
If anything worries me, it's Dalvin Cook. Is he playing? He's not hurt, right? I can't ever remember. So yeah, he's playing, and he usually does pretty well against us. But that's been the past few years when the Packers defense has been not very good. They got Devondre Campbell at middle linebacker now. He's a tackling machine. The run defense has been much better since he's been on the team. So maybe Dalvin Cook gets slowed down a bit here. But even so, he runs for 120, 130 yards against us, so we still beat them. I'm not too worried about it, and I like the way the secondary's been playing. Kirk Cousins doesn't really scare me. If anything, I might look at his over interception prop if you can get a good number on that.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one.
Sneaky little stat on the Vikings that they had on the telecast this weekend. They are the only team in the NFL to have a 7 or more point lead in every game this year.
Wow.
So I found that crazy. It's like this team gets out to hot starts, and then there goes Kirk Cousins throwing the ball away. So, Vikings first half might be a great play, and Kirk Cousins over and
look at the first quarter line.
Great play.
Look at the first quarter line too.
Actually, The first quarter line might be a good look for the Vikings because the Packers, I think they haven't scored in the first quarter in like 5 games in a row. So that might be a good look, but the Packers get hot in the second half. I think this is going to be like a 24-14, 24 like 10 game, somewhere around there. Maybe the Vikings get 1 or 2. Something like that.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at a Minnesota first quarter bets on Sunday because that's actually unbelievable. Let's keep her moving to Job. Job, what do you got for your second pick? If he's here.
We're going to go back to what's made us money all season long. A little stumble with Kyler hurt, but we're going to take the Arizona Cardinals. We love getting the -2 here. We project the line should be around 4, 4.5. But we're going to keep it as a 1-unit play because we don't know yet that Kyler's going to be healthy. He did participate in practice both today and yesterday. So if you get that line now, you're taking a little bit of a risk, which is what we're doing. That's why it's a 1-unit play because Colt McCoy is also hurt. So you're going either Kyler Murray at probably 60%, or you're going with a third-string quarterback. So we're risking it on Kyler Murray as he's going to play and hopefully dominate in his return.
Yeah, I didn't realize Colt McCoy was out too. That's
Yeah. Who's it?
torn shoulder.
Strevla, the third guy.
So I don't even know who the next man up is. I'm going to be honest.
All right, well, let's say Kyler is and he's active for Sunday.
Then this line will jump to 5.
It will? Okay, well, okay, fair enough. But let's just say, hypothetically, Kyler's in. We got Russell Wilson with a game under his belt after coming off of the IR. How do you think Russell Wilson's going to do against that Arizona defense? That has, I feel like, in my opinion, has had a couple holes here in the last few weeks.
Oh, I think they're finally missing J.J. Watt. They have some injuries that's caused them to miss some tackles in the open field. So Russ does always worry me when he's healthy. But right now he's got a banged up DK Metcalf, which is concerning. Alex Collins has missed practice all week with an injury. So you're really looking at the B version of the Seattle Seahawks offense. And when you think about their defense and those holes, if Kyler is going to play, and assuming that you're not going to see D-Hop until after the bye week, is probably the safe bet. But it is still a possibility, I think, that Kyler tears it up. And I would actually expect this to be a big game for Zach Ertz. We're going to be looking at a lot of Zach Ertz props over the course of the weekend. Nice. And have a couple of those over on our Twitter page probably before the drop.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's keep her moving to Derek, our next matchup. Derek, what do you got for your second pick?
Second pick, I'm going with who's hotter than this team right now. There is no team hotter than Oklahoma State Cowboys in the entire nation. So 8 straight covers. They're up to number 6 in the country. Right here, this is a statement game, in my opinion, for the Cowboys. Little bit of a concern. Could they be looking ahead to Oklahoma next week? Yeah, but I think Gundy's a good enough coach that he's going to have his kids focused on the task at hand. Last week, we got Texas Tech. Like great win, great exciting, like 60-yard field goal at the end of the game. Like what college kid hits a 60-yard field goal as time expires? But huge win against Iowa State last week, makes them bowl eligible. So I'm thinking the Red Raiders might have been celebrating a little too hard last weekend and might not really get up for this game. So I see Oklahoma State just absolutely drubbing them this weekend. Oklahoma State, top 5 defense in the country. As I said, they're just a covering machine right now. And as I said in my first game, I think the style points. They need some style points here. So I'm thinking this is like a 3-possession win for Oklahoma State. I really feel pretty good that they roll here.
Yeah, Oklahoma State, like you said, one of the hottest covering teams in NCAA right now. And this is actually a line too, like especially in college, just kind of not a theory, but when the line is like double digits, I like to look at the first half line. It's it's usually 6.5, usually a touchdown. It's 1 score. But do you think the Texas Tech is going to be able to kind of slow them down earlier on? Because that's what they're going to have to do. in
No,
order to win
because
those games.
Texas Tech is kind of a fast tempo team, so they're not going to try to play that slow it down game. They're going
Yeah.
to try to speed the game up.
Yeah.
And I just think with the Cowboys, how good their defense is, if they're getting that Red Raiders offense off the field, they're going to put themselves in great position to just keep scoring. And Texas Tech, again, they're just going to keep that fast pace, turn into one-dimensional air raid that plays right into the Cowboys' defense hands. So I expect this game turnovers, poor field, great field position starting for the Cowboys, things like that. Going to help them cover this game. But yeah, as I said, this to me is a huge statement game. I mean, Oklahoma State, they now control their own destiny to get to that Big 12 championship game with Oklahoma losing last weekend. So win this game, you got the Sooners on deck. You go beat them. You're the top of the class in the conference. So, I mean, they got it all right there in front of them for the taking. So, to me, this is a statement game. Go on the road, get a good win, help you in that college football playoff ranking, and then, be it as it may, you go into that Bedlam game against Oklahoma. You beat them. I think you're in that top 4.
I agree with you. And let's be honest, I think Texas Tech is overrated. I don't think they're as good as their record even shows. But yeah, Oklahoma State's tough to. Who's at home here? Oklahoma State.
It's at Texas Tech. I'm taking the road team here.
All right. Even still, that doesn't bother me at all. 1 unit on that. I would look at the first half line. I think Oklahoma State gets off to a fast start. And I don't think, and like you said, they're talking about pace here. Texas Tech won't be able to stop them. So I like that pick a lot. That's one of my favorite ones so far. Sorry, fellas. All right, Luke, we're talking about some Cowboys here, but we're not talking about the Dallas Cowboys, but what's your second pick?
Yeah, we're gonna preface this by saying again, fellas, the University of Texas is not back. Okay, we're not playing.
So
that game.
Didn't they just cut the program?
I
mean, when you lose to Kansas, you should just cut the program.
We're just not gonna say anything about that. So the only reason I'm gonna take this is because West Virginia's offense is abysmal without Letty Brown. And Jared Dagey is questionable. Garrett Green might actually get the start this weekend against Texas. This is maybe the last time West Virginia plays Texas. I think it's going to be a very spirited game for the Mountaineers, but I think in the end, Texas can probably pull this game out just so Sarkisian can keep his job.
So, question for you: are the horns up or are they down, or what are we doing here?
We're giving it one of these right now.
Second question for you: is this a full-on fade on your hometown team?
I really have no idea what direction Neil Brown has this team going in. 1 week we can feed Letty Brown and be completely fine. The next week he gives completely away from it and puts the ball in Jared Dagey's hands. And he hasn't proved to me that he is a legitimate quarterback for the NCAA or even possibly a future quarterback somewhere in the NFL. So they have a lot of issues coming up now because Letty's gone after this year. Jared Dagey's gone after this year. They lose half their line this year. So they have a lot more questions than answers, especially this year, but especially even next year. So I really just don't think they're going to go bowling this year. So they might as well. I just don't think West Virginia has it this year.
Fair enough. I mean, they looked good last year. I'll give you that. But I mean, yeah, this year has kind of been lackluster. It's too bad because I'm a big fan of when they sing Country Roads after wins at home. So
absolutely.
All right, fellas. That brings us to the end of the second round. You know what that means? It is the player pick of the week. When shopping online, www.playergolf.com. Make sure you use promo code BetTheOver for 20% off. I'm wearing the hat. I see James is wearing the hat. This is a great company, guys. If you're looking for golf attire, golf accessories, or even athletic wear, they're in athletic wear now, shorts, shirts, sweaters. Just check them out. Check them out online. They ship anywhere to the U.S. as well as Canada, so make sure to check them out. They're a great company. A huge, huge fan of them. So the player pick of the week is going to be tomorrow. So Friday, I'm going with LA Tech to cover the 15.5 against Southern Miss. Southern Miss is an absolute dog shit of a college football team. They're on the road against LA Tech. LA Tech, Southern Miss actually is 0-5 on away games. They have not covered a game on the road. Sorry, they have covered. It was against UTSA, but that line was absolutely astronomical. I think it was like 35 points or something like that. But I don't think I think LA Tech absolutely runs right over them. I think we have a 21 point lead at the half, and then they just continue to roll. My only worry is in the second half, LA Tech has tendencies of just absolutely shutting down and letting offenses on the other side come over them. I don't think this is going to happen. I don't think Southern Miss is a team that will do that. I just think they're that bad of a team. Their strength of schedule is one of the worst in the league compared to LA Tech is actually, I believe it's top tier, or not top tier, but it'd be, top 50 at least in strength of schedule. So I like LA Tech to cover the 15.5, and I would be absolutely looking at a first half line at 8.5. That's not going to be an official play, but I am going to play it maybe on just a bit outside tomorrow. An 8.5 first half line, I think they absolutely cover that. I think they're up by 2 touchdowns, if not more, at the halftime. So that is the player pick of the week. And like I said, make sure to check them out, www.playergolf.com, and on Twitter @PlayerAthletics on Twitter. So let's move it along to James, and he switched shirts again. Holy smokes. We got another homer play. What do you got for me, my man?
All my teams playing this weekend. Yeah, I am a fan of this little team in Wales, plays in the championship over in England. Swansea, I'm taking them on the money line at home versus Blackpool. This is also Saturday morning. It's -115. It's a 2-minute play for me. This is basically just based on Swansea's home form. Surprising this season. They've been playing very well, especially at home. They've only allowed 1 goal in their last 6 home games. They've won 4 out of the last 5. That 5th game was a draw. It was a 0-0 draw. Their defense has been spot on, and they have a surprising striker. I forgot his name. He came up from another league, but he's been playing way better than I expected him to, considering where he came from. I think he's been playing better than everyone expected him to. Blackpool is a good team, though, so this should be a good match. I'm kind of interested to watch it, but I'm going to back my boys at home and ride the home form that they've been on. So I like this value at -115.
So I will kind of check with you. These are three-way picks, right? Correct?
Yes. The Chelsea as well. Any soccer money line is 3-way. If it's called draw no bet.
Yeah.
Or that's another way you can bet soccer.
Yeah. That'd be like
that would be a pick, like a pick on the Asian handicap market. It's basically that's where the draw would just push the bet. But I like the money line here. So they did just come off. They did just get thumped by Bournemouth before the international break. But Bournemouth is by far the best team in the championship. They're going to get promoted hands down. They're top of the table. They demolish everyone they play. I think the break's going to help them get their mind right after that, and this is a good bounce back spot at home. So.
Oh, and they're at home too. I like that.
Yes, it's a home game. Yep.
How big of an advantage? This is kind of just a general question in term for soccer. How big an advantage is home field when it comes to soccer? Is it pretty big? Like, is it like hockey and football, where it's like, fuck me,
Yes. Usually it is. I'd say in probably most leagues. I mean, even like leagues like the championship. Actually, the championship is considered widely by many the most competitive league in the world, just because all the teams are usually it's parity. All the teams. Anything can happen any week. But home field, especially after the COVID year when there was no fans, it's really obvious now that we're back with fans in the stadium. It's very, very obvious, especially certain home fields. Swansea, it helps because they're in Wales. It's kind of a little bit farther of a travel than most. It's normally is for teams like Blackpool, who most of the teams they play are in England, so it's not like a super far trip, but farther than normal.
Yeah.
And Swansea fans can get rowdy. They can get rowdy there. I've seen them bring that place. They be bouncing.
All right.
See games on TV, the flares, the fire, like the fires in the crowd, that's intimidating.
I
wouldn't want to be on the pitch.
Some of the English clubs, like the big ones and EPL, I mean, that we ever seen the movie Hooligans? That's real.
Yeah.
That stuff happens.
So this is just an off topic question. The flares, how do they get that past security? What are they running with for security wise? Are they
Generally when you're seeing
bat
the
down?
flares and the crazy fires in the stands in the games like that, those are like the Romanian leagues and the Russian leagues. It's not like
They don't have
happening in
security in
England.
those leagues. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just run rampant. I mean, there's a team in Belgrade called Red Star, and their fans are like that. Most of the pictures you've seen are probably from Red Star games.
I think so, actually. I think I seen the
Yeah.
video today.
Their
I
fans are
picture-
nuts there.
I just picture that, the video of the security guard that does you know what I'm talking about, where he just does
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
That's the security going through. No, that's hilarious. Anyway, Swansea money line minus 115 for 2 units. I like to play, especially when they're at home. So
Oh, yeah.
let's keep it moving. Now I need to clarify on this one, Job. You kind of have a similar pick as to James, but I've accepted it just because it is technically two different bets. But yeah, walk us through it. What do you got?
So we're going to take Green Bay and the spread here. James talked over the whole game, so we're not going to give you too much. Normally, we love the Vikings this year as dogs. Every time the Vikings are dogs, I feel like there's a backdoor cover. It's been a roller coaster betting with the Vikings, but I love doing it this season. The one thing I'm not going to do is bet against Aaron Rodgers in a divisional matchup, especially at this line. This line should be 2.5. If Aaron Jones is playing, it's probably at 3, maybe even 3.5. I actually don't think there's that much of a drawback to inserting A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon, I think, is a very underrated power back. He's not the receiving weapon that Aaron Jones is, but he can get downhill and get you 4 yards a carry without an issue. And on the other side of the ball, I mean, yes, Dalvin Cook is a machine. Yes, he's going to go get his. He'll get 100 yards in this game. He gets 100 yards in every game. He'll probably score at least 1 touchdown. But in the fourth quarter, when it's 24-14, Dalvin Cook is nowhere near as much of a factor as he is, in the first and second quarter. And James mentioned it. Green Bay is a second half team for sure. And I actually don't think that Minnesota intimidates Aaron Rodgers at all. It's one of those away games that for him, he revels in that kind of controversy. And right now, he's just angry at everyone and everything. And with this defense behind him, he's going to get some short fields and he's going to put up some points.
Yeah, we touched up on it. What do you think of Minnesota in the first quarter, first half?
I'm never going to say don't take Dalvin Cook in the first half of a football game because they feed him and he wears down a defense in the first quarter. But I'm wary of it with this defense. I think this Green Bay defense has been fantastic. If they had a good field goal kicker, Mason Crosby's no longer any good, in my opinion. I'm surprised he still has a job in the NFL.
Yeah, he's washed.
He's just washed. That's the word for it because he's still.
I got to interrupt. We can't.
All right,
I can't have this Mason slander. I can't have it. We've had this happen to him once before. He missed a few games in a row a couple years ago, and then he made like 18 straight. There's been a lot of mechanics problems with the new long snapper and the new holder. They have a new long snapper and holder, and that's very important in the kicking.
It is. I've noticed it. I've called it out the last couple of weeks where the holder is turning the laces towards Mason Crosby instead of away. They even highlighted it in one of the broadcasts, but it's been clear that there's some special teams issues.
Yeah, definitely.
That is the reason that this line is so close because they're going to get some short fields. And I think they will score a lot of points here. But in the red zone, they might not get touchdowns. And that's Minnesota won't get touchdowns, I don't think, in the red zone either. When the field tightens up, it's much easier to cover the deep ball. Justin Jefferson is a problem. Adam Thielen is a problem. Kirk Cousins is not a problem. He's very predictable. And if you give him a compacted field, he's not very good.
You like that? You like that?
We stand behind Green Bay in this matchup.
So if you would have told me we were going to be talking about Green Bay's defense in what week are we in? 11? and how
Week
good
11.
it was, I would have told you were absolutely crazy. So that's gonna make you feel a little bit pretty good there, James. Eh?
18 points per game they've allowed.
I think they are the best defense in the NFL. The second best defense, I think, is playing currently on Thursday Night Football. If not,
They don't
by
even have their
number.
best player. They don't even have their best player.
All
Jair
right,
Alexander's been out.
And their second best player, I think, is an offensive lineman. I think Bakhtari is actually their
Yep.
second best
Oh,
player.
yeah,
if,
he's
you know,
out.
if you
Yeah.
count Aaron Rodgers on a different level.
Right.
And without Bakhtari, running the football is much harder, and they're still doing it effectively. But he is an absolute beast who moves people, and he might not be back for this game, but he'll be back pretty soon. Green Bay is going to be a force in the NFC this season.
Crazy to think. Never would have thought. Never would have thought it. All right, Derek, I know you're chomping at the bit here for another plus money play here. What do you got, my man?
Next play, I am going with Oregon State Beavers money line at plus 140. Love them as a 3-point underdog, but I really think they win this game outright. They're at home against Arizona State. This is the second of a back-to-back road game trip for the Sun Devils, which never usually bodes well in college football. But more importantly, they're playing in Corvallis. That's a tough place to play in general. But when you get to this time of year and you factor that crazy Pacific Northwest weather in, cold, rainy, wet, those Arizona Sun boys don't want to play in this weather. So huge home field advantage for the Beavers in this game. Like I said, I think both teams really pretty even right down the middle. But I like that home field edge. And Sun Devils, they have lost 6 of the last 8 games up there in Corvallis against Oregon State. And all 6 of those games were scheduled mid to late November. So fits this frame right here where this is not a spot that they usually succeed in. And then also right before we got on here, I got saw a little news thing where there was a car accident that involved 5 of the Sun Devil players today. No major injuries, nothing bad, but who knows? Do these kids even travel with the team tomorrow to go up there? So they could be playing a little shorthanded in this game.
Yikes, that's kind of scary. Hopefully everybody's okay. Arizona State, though, I mean, looking kind of past all that, Arizona State, I feel like they're like kind of comparable to like a Cincinnati where they did so well in the beginning of the year, and now they're just, I mean, 5 points. I think they won by 5 against Washington last week or whatever it was.
Yeah.
USC, they did beat USC pretty handily, but USC is a one right now.
But yeah, no, Arizona State, they've got a really, really good defense. I will say that very respectable defense. Offense has taken a little bit of time to kind of get it together and figure it out. And they look good last weekend. I will give them credit for that last weekend. But Oregon State, they've got a good defense themselves, and that's like I said, that's a really tough place to play. And factor in the colder weather, wet weather this time of the year that's generally up there. I think it's going to be tough sledding for Arizona State this weekend. So yeah, I'm gonna take another shot at gaining some units and moving up the standings. I'm gonna pass on the points and just take the money line.
I like that play. That's another good play I like. And like I said, Arizona State just kind of has been iffy a little bit, and let's give a little more credit. I think their Oregon State's offense, like it's progressing obviously, but it has shown some flashes of brilliance and like very, very good at times. So I'm a big Beavers backer, so I like Oregon State there. Let's move to Luke. He's looking. He might be sleeping. I don't know. But Luke, what do you got for your third pick?
Yeah. So the Bungles coming off a bye, -1 for 2 units. I said at the beginning of the year that 3 AFC North teams were going to make the playoffs, and I still strongly believe that. Whether Cincinnati is one of the 3 is up for debate. The Cleveland Clowns are being the Clowns again, and the Bungles play the Raiders this week, and the Raiders have become the Raiders again. What do you want me to say? I mean, so -1, coming off the bye, finally get rested up and get some injuries healed up. Give me a shot at the Bungles.
just quickly on the Raiders. Let's talk. They've had some pretty bad luck in the last, like, I want to say month, but even just year. Antonio Brown, Ruggs, their 2020 first round pick, like
Their coach.
and their coach, like I just
And a lot of this is mid-season too. I mean, I know
Yeah.
some of that happened preseason, but you lose your head coach in week 4 or week 5, and then you lose Arnett for the season, probably done for his career on gun charges, and Henry Ruggs obviously in prison for vehicular assault at the moment. There's just so much to overcome there
It's-
for Derek Carr. It seems like he's in front of the podium trying to be a football player, and everyone wants to be a saint, and it's
Yeah.
too much for him.
it's really sad because there's lots of shit that's going down there that I mean, yeah, it's whatever. What do you do, right? But getting back to the game here, Luke, decent record on the road, 3-2 Cincinnati, but you're going into the Death Star. You're going into Vegas. So the boys going to be, are they going to be out there night before gambling, hitting up the Las Vegas
So
clubs? or-
here's my thing, Josh. You only got to win by a field goal.
Fuck,
You ain't gotta blow
you just
them
gotta
out.
win by- You just got to win by a safety.
Yep. You don't have to blow them out. And you can win by a field goal. My child wants to say hi.
How's it going, my man?
Hi, bud.
So you're not worried about the guys going out partying, getting into one a bit.
I'll go partying with him. I mean, and I'll still back him, but I like this pick a lot.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, fellas, last round here. Let's get to it. James, are you wearing a split jersey? Do you got a split jersey?
No.
maybe?
No, this wasn't a homer pick. I just went back to my normal t-shirt. But my last play, I'm gonna take a total. I actually been riding a lot of unders in the NFL this year. There are a lot of them hitting at an alarming rate. But I do like Arizona. Seattle's under here. I think 48.5 is too much. Minus 110 for 1 unit. I actually made this bet thinking Kyler will play. There's a chance he won't. If he doesn't, I think that just helps here. I think Russ still has some rust to shake off, and it's a division game, so it's bound to be sloppy anyway. I just think it's going to be a low-scoring, big punch here, there, try to knock each other out kind of game. So I like the under here at minus 110.
So now we kind of we touched on a little bit, but I was talking about Russell Wilson. Now he's got a game under his belt from coming back from his thumb injury. Now, does that worry at all? Do you think he's going to be able to sling it a little bit more, or do you think this Arizona defense that I think has had a couple holes in play in their last few weeks is going to be able to shut him down?
I think even if he can sling it, they're probably going to be able to shut him down. But I'm not sure. He didn't look right throwing the ball against Packers. I'm not sure he's fully right yet. So I think he might still have a little rust to kick off here.
Fair enough. Yeah. You never know, though. I mean,
Hey, I like that. That Seattle offense was bad last week.
Yeah, real
it
bad.
was rough. That offensive line couldn't hold up for shit.
And you know what? And let's be honest, it wasn't great before Russell Wilson went down.
It hasn't been great.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes sense, but Russell Wilson's still Russell Wilson, and he still has DK Metcalf.
Well, it's Sierra's husband. It's not Russell Wilson. It's Sierra's husband.
That's funny. All right, take the under 48.5 minus 110 for a unit there. Joel, what do you got your biggest play here? What do you got for your last play?
Well, we're gonna back Carson Wentz and the Colts, and I can't believe I'm doing this. But we're gonna take the +7. We just feel like 7 is too much for this game. The line should probably be 5, maybe 6. Carson Wentz has not really hit his stride yet, but I feel like it's coming. The Bills have been on and off. They've dropped a couple of games at home that they should be winning, and especially that Jaguars game, which was brutal. They poured it on last week. They're a good team, no doubt about it. But Jonathan Taylor is a monster. And if Carson Wentz can put it together with that play-action game and maybe a couple scrambles, they'll be in great shape. I would expect Indy to lose this game, but they will cover.
Yeah, Indy kind of one of the surprises so far this season with Carson Wentz. But how many eggs are you putting in that basket with Carson Wentz at the helm so far?
Not a lot.
I like it, Job. I do.
Oh, thank you.
I think Jonathan Taylor's going to ball.
I just think this is a statement game for Jonathan Taylor. Derrick Henry is out, so there won't be another running back in the MVP conversation this year. But I just think Jonathan Taylor is going to establish himself here as a top running back in the league. In a lot of people's eyes, he's average with a good offensive line, and that's because his team is terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you guys listen to Pat McAfee's show. He was talking about when he went, and Jonathan Taylor's the guy there. It's not Carson Wentz. Jonathan Taylor's the last one out of the tunnel when they introduced the offense. So the fans there are right.
The center of that offense for sure, and they're
he's a stud
around him. There's no doubt. They're scratching Marlon Mack, who I know had an injury last year, but he's getting scratched every single game. They're looking to move him, and he is a good running back, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Like he's a good running back, but they are going to give Jonathan Taylor the Dalvin Cook treatment. He's going to get 90% of snaps, and then they have the 1-2 punch with Nyheim Hines, who I think is the second best pass catching back in the league on third down. Maybe the third best behind James White when he's healthy and Aaron Jones in Green Bay. It's a good 1-2 punch at running back. They have a great offensive line. If Carson Wentz can figure it out, they'll be in great shape.
Yeah, and also with T.Y. Hilton coming back. I know this is not T.Y. Hilton from 5 years ago, but as a third wide receiver, a third option in that offense, I think the Colts are going to get it together, and Wentz will start looking better as the season goes on. Get that cohesiveness, get them playing together. That is a very dangerous offense.
I agree with you.
I don't know what you guys think about this, but I think Frank Reich is a good head coach. I think they're going to be a good team.
I agree. He is.
I would say underrated for sure, 100%. But yeah, their offense has been electric, and Taylor's part of that. But like you said, T.Y. Hilton coming back, it's only going to get better, I think, to be honest with you. So this is almost like one of those. The NFL is so unpredictable this year, in my personal opinion, that you just don't know what's going to happen. Sprinkle a little bit of money line for the Colts this week.
Anything over a touchdown.
I don't think it's a bad bet at all. I wouldn't think anything less of it. You know what I mean?
And people
anything over a touchdown.
Well, I think the Bills are never a bad bet either. I mean, that's a dynamic team with a great quarterback who's in the MVP race.
But I don't think I don't think their offense has been what it's supposed to be. Now
their defense has been good. The real thing here is, can the Colts control time of possession? And that Bills defensive front seven is good. Jonathan Taylor is better.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. All right, let's go to Derek for his biggest play of the week. What do you got for me there, Derek?
So this was my spike play last week, and very well could be another one this week. So going back to the well, Boston College -1.5. They are at home against Florida State this weekend. So the story of Boston College's season, started off the season 4-0, and then Jerkovich got injured. He's their quarterback. Missed the next 4 games. They lost every single one of them. But he came back unexpectedly a couple weeks ago against Virginia Tech. And he had to knock the rust off. But they won at home as a dog in that game. And then I'd say last week he finally looked like he knocked that rust off. He slow start, but he absolutely exploded. He accounted for all 5 of the Eagles' touchdowns last Saturday. And that team they are so much better with him under center. It's night and day. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the Eagles this weekend at home. Florida State coming off a nice win last week as a dog against the Miami Hurricanes, but we already know the Hurricanes are not back, correct? But yeah, the Hurricanes in that game, they shot themselves in the foot. They had three first half turnovers that gave the Seminoles an early lead, and they just kind of sat on it for the most part. Hurricanes started coming back, but the story of Florida State this year, they just have not been impressive at all at any point. They got one good win. I'll give them that UNC win as a good win, but it's not the UNC we thought they were back in August when they had title hopes. But yeah, this is also a pretty big sandwich game for the Seminoles as well. You had Miami last week. Now you fly up to Boston College in a late November game. They're not going to enjoy the weather up here. And then they go home and they get the Florida Gators next weekend. So this is an ultimate sandwich game for the Seminoles. Yeah, maybe they are, playing with a little bit of pride. They're looking to get bowl eligible, but yeah, I just did BC, like I said, different team with Phil Jerkovich under center, and I don't think Vegas is really putting that thought in the lines when they're making them right now, because
Mhm.
I've been on the Eagles the last 3 weeks since he's been back in the lineup, and I've felt all three lines have been pretty damn soft. So
Really?
I'm gonna back him again this week. That's my biggest play, my most confident play, and as I said, that could very well be a spike play come Saturday.
I like that. I like when a spike play comes out. FS. I'm just thinking in my head. FSU's quarterback last season entered the transfer portal. Correct? I can't remember who it was.
I can't even think of who the hell it is.
I feel like he went to like Auburn or something.
Yeah,
but he was like,
I'm not positive. I know that they've been going with Milton, who's like a 17th year senior. Might remember him from Central Florida a couple years back. Had a terribly disgusting leg injury. I mean, kudos to the kid. He has fought back when they said he'd never even friggin' walk again. So kudos to that kid. He's definitely a soldier, tough as hell. So hard not to root for a kid like that. But he's not. He's the games I've watched at him at quarterback, shaky decision making, looks timid in the pocket at times, which is understandable. But he's just not the same quarterback he was a few years back, in my opinion. And that team is just not. They're not that great of a team either. They put together one hell of a game early in the year when they lost in overtime to Notre Dame. But other than that, they just really have not impressed me at any point this year.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I like BC's been fun to watch, been fun to bet on. And yeah, I agree with you. Let's move it over to Luke. Bring it home, my man. What do you got for your? I know Derek wanted this pick, but I said no.
No. This is a bad team with the worst quarterback ever.
What do you got? What do you got, Luke? Oh, he's muted. He's muted for the last one.
What? No way that happened. Anyway, we looked it up on ITL. Tampa Tom hasn't lost 3 games in a row since 2003.
Okay.
Shit. So, first of all, he's coming off a multiple interception football game and 2 losses in a row against a team that doesn't have their best running back. And they're actually their most viable weapon in Saquon Barkley, who's been a bust for me this year. I'm not salty about it or anything, but I think, honestly, they win by 2 touchdowns. The New York Giants is not a good football team, and Tampa Tom is going to be fucking pissed. I think if he can get Gronk back this week, I don't think he's going to get AB back maybe at all this year with this new allegations and stuff coming up about getting a fake COVID card.
Allegedly.
I'm just saying they'll probably keep him on the sidelines.
His personal chef is coming out with this.
I know.
He's in his own personal dispute with him. So
but I think if he can get Gronk back this week, he's got enough weapons down there to make it happen. So yeah, give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Is the Giants are still banged up? Are they not? Are they still dealing with some injury bug?
Their biggest thing is Saquon Barkley. They go as far as Saquon Barkley goes, and he's still questionable this week. And I really don't see him coming back this week to play against Tampa. I just really don't.
I wouldn't be surprised if they just try and keep him out as long as they can. But
yeah.
I love the pick. Derek maybe doesn't like it anymore. I don't know.
No, I hate it now. I tried sneaking it in there as my last pick and got the door slammed on me. But no, I do like that play because I echo everything he just said. They're gonna be a pissed off team, a pissed off Tom. Like they got to win this game and they're gonna win it big. But yeah, I do agree. Tom needs Gronk back. He needs his safety blanket there.
Yeah.
Like, something just doesn't seem to be clicking right now with that offense. And yeah, he needs AB or Gronk. Those are those guys that he just has that relationship with, that trust that's already built. I mean,
The other
I
thing
hear
is,
sports radio saying that there seems to be issues between Brady and Mike Evans right now, like trust issues and God knows what. But yeah, the amount of talent that's on that offense, they should be putting up 40 a game, no problem. It's crazy to see them struggle at times.
Yeah,
but
it is.
we've all known Tom Brady. He needs a competent run game, and
Yeah.
even if it's not a run game, it is an extension of the run. He needs Leonard Fournette to get going.
Yeah.
He needs Ronald Rojo to get going. They have
Rojo,
to get
though, I think
these running lanes
they're
open.
they've stopped relying on Rojo. They've gone right to Fournette, and they've
Yeah, he's the pass catching back now.
yeah,
which is crazy to think. I mean, it was Gio. That's
Yeah.
unfortunate that Bernard didn't really work out because he was kind of that perfect guy that Tom Brady would lean on, kind of like he did with James White and Kevin Falk for years up here. Those are the types of running backs he loves. You don't need that banger that goes for 100 yards a game. It's more or less like 40 yards rushing, give me 40 yards receiving.
Give me 50 and 50.
Give me my little wide receivers that
Yeah.
are going to get open within 2 steps that I can dump it off, and that's essentially an extension of the running game.
Yeah.
And that kind of opened everything up afterwards down the field for him. But, yeah, he is definitely missing that in the offense because Fournette has never, prior to this year, has never been a pass-catching running back. He's a bruiser.
Yeah, that's another line I'd be looking at a first quarter and a first half spread as well. I think they come out hot. I would assume that boat will go off or whatever the fuck they have. The pirate ship will blast off.
Candles will fire, bud.
At least four times this Sunday. So that is the end of the show. I'm just going to do quick sign-offs and confirmations. James, I know you're waiting to get going. You're going with Chelsea moneyline minus 125 for 2 units. Green Bay Packers moneyline minus 125 for 2 units. Swansea moneyline minus 115 for 2 units. And then Arizona, Seattle under 48.5. Is that all correct? And where can they find you?
That is correct, and you can find me right there on Twitter at James Makes Picks. I post all my plays there. I have a little spreadsheet, track all my plays. I recap everything every day, and everything's absolutely free, so go give me a follow.
Boom, boom. All right, you're going up against Job. Job's going with the Ravens to cover the 4.5 minus 110 for a unit. Arizona to cover the 2 minus 110 for a unit. Green Bay to cover the 1.5 at minus 110 for 2 units. And then the Colts to cover the 7 points minus 105 for 3 units. And you can catch him at Source Podcast 11. Him and Sam always giving out plays. They actually have a little NFL preview show every single Sunday morning to give you a little breakdown of all their picks. Make sure to check them out. Some of the best, or 2 of the best gamblers I know on Twitter. So sorry, fellas. I know they're 2 of the best. You're up there too. Don't worry. Derek, you're rolling with SMU moneyline plus 350 for a unit. Oklahoma State to cover the 10 points minus 110 for a unit. Oregon State moneyline plus 140 for 2 units, and then Boston College to cover the 1.5 for 3 units. Is that all correct?
That is correct, and you can find me on Twitter at ActionJackson100 right there below. Post everything for free. Just like JMP said, recaps daily. Even on the bad days, I won't hide them. I will not hide them. So, give me a follow and give me a shout.
Transparency is key. All right, Lukey, you're going with Michigan State University to cover the 19.5 minus 110 per unit. Texas Horns are in the middle to cover the 3.5 minus 110 for 2 units. Cincinnati Bengals cover 1 against Vegas for minus 110 for 2 units. And then the Buccaneers to cover the 10.5 minus 110 for 2 units. Is that all correct? And where can they find you?
Yep, that's all correct. You can find me on Twitter at Hearts on Hockey. 7-1 in the last 2 shows, I do believe. So hopefully, trying to break through to that 4-0 spot. We'll give her a try this week.
I like the confidence. I've been your host, Josh Elliott. The player pick of the week is LA Tech tomorrow to cover the 15.5, and I'm actually laying 2.5 units down on that. I don't know if I said that or not. against Southern Miss. Make sure to check out Player Athletics at Player Athletics on Twitter, and then www.playergolf.com. This has been a ton of fun, guys. It's great to be back. Playoffs are shaping up.
Great to be back.
I'm excited to see what happens this week. So everybody have a great weekend, and you know what? Let's make some money.